Welcome everyone to Enlightened Masculinity. We have our guest back from a previous episode, Francis Ra, and talking about speaking the voice and how to create an emotional impact on others as we speak. And this is all going to be intertwined and interwoven into the ideas of social dynamics, of game, male-female dynamics, and NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. Basically we're talking about the conscious mind, the unconscious, the subconscious mind, and how communication plays a role in this whole mating that we're all engaged in here on Earth. Not to make too complex of a sentence there. I'm one of your hosts, Yogi Chris, PhD. I'm the founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, and this show is sponsored by Ninth Limb Yoga. So shout out Instagram. I'm also a world traveling yoga instructor and author of many books, many podcasts, from the human universities. And as a co-host, and we'll introduce our guest in just a second again. Co-host is a biotech research analyst from Montclair, New Jersey, for the biggest drug dealers in the world. You'll find them there in New Jersey. And he's also a registered yoga teacher. His yoga following there in New Jersey called the Rising Suns. Welcome to Enlightened Masculinity, Akash Inti Katakam.
Brother, thank you so much for this incredible introduction. Super, super excited to discuss with our special guest, Francis Ra, today. Francis is the founder of Naturally Seductive, an NLP practitioner and expert, studied under Ross Jeffries, and a pickup artist who's been in the game for quite some time. I'm very, very excited to introduce Francis Ra. So Francis, let's get into the topic of how do you speak powerfully? Where can you get into the ideas of where we speak from a place that impacts others in our speech and in our language, in our tonality? And I'll leave it to you to take it from there.
Okay. Well, if you'll notice, just that little pause and just of how you feel during that pause. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. Unconsciously, we feel cognitive dissonance because that sentence hasn't been finished quite yet, and so it compels you to want to know more. So just by that pause, the effect you can have, you begin to bring that person more towards you, right? And then we can think about up and down, using your voice up and down, where sometimes you can emphasize a point by just moving very, very slowly and deliberately with your voice. And you just kind of to bring it up and be a little bit more refreshing. And sometimes when you speak really, really fast and it's really, really exciting and it just, you have to get it out. And it's like your heartbeat begins to beat faster and faster with my voice, right? So you can see how you can bring a person up, you can bring them down, and you can just begin to talk just normally again. And it begins to feel calm again. How just by using your voice like that, the kind of tools you have right there, and the influence you have on the person's emotions and how they're feeling and their experience. And then you can begin to talk about things. You see, when we talk about experiences, talk about feelings, the subconscious mind, see, if I say pink elephant, unconsciously you have to have an experience of pink elephantness in order to understand the words. So if I say happy, same thing. Unconsciously, you have to undergo the experience of happiness just to understand the word. And so we can begin to just speak more about emotions and about, like, you know what, it's been such a wonderful day. Everybody I've met today has been so happy. People are smiling. And it's just, I've met so many great people. And just by speaking to you about that little experience, you kind of go through a little experience of that yourself. And you can hear the birds singing, and even you can feel about how appreciative, how amazing it feels just to sit back and have the time to appreciate the birds.
Bro, I mean, I'm fascinated by this subject too. That's incredible. What do you think about this, Francis? In studying people like billionaires or successful people in any area, like they sell in that area, there seems to be a language or a way of communicating that you could say like marketers use, that the high end, like the multi-$100 million marketers, that the financial investors use, top athletes they use, and they all have like a different like way of speaking that like the fighters will use, or the another guy, the spiritual guy will use, or the hypnotherapist, if he's a super successful like self-help or hypnotherapist kind of guy. They have their own little subset, little dialect in the English that they use. And the idea, there's an old idea, I think, in like game and just in life, fake it till you make it kind of idea. So what do you think about you talking like someone got it going on in order to manifest yourself getting it on?
Well, it's a much more effective. It's subconscious. I mean, your unconscious processes are still you. So you don't want to lie to yourself. So what you want to do is you want to point out things that you're doing that are bringing you towards your goals. All right. You want to like point out things, be like, man, I'm kicking ass. I kicked ass at work today. I'm getting recognition, whatever it is. But speak very highly and very excitedly to yourself about your accomplishments. And talk about how your accomplishments are leading you to where you want to go. I am going to be a millionaire. See how hard I'm working every day. See how hard I see what I'm doing. See the changes I'm making. I know I'm getting there every day. I'm becoming more and more of the man that's getting there. So you see what I mean? If you talk, you begin to build what you're doing. You see, we all have this kind of tape that kind of runs in our heads over and over again. We pretty much think the same thoughts all the time. So by taking hold of the processes and consciously thinking thoughts, and even running along with them, we begin to direct our minds and get our minds more used to those ways of thinking. You know what I mean?
Francis, that's really interesting. And as you mentioned this, it brought something up for me in the sense of, and you talked a bit about this, you alluded to it. There's different, Chris alluded to this as well, there's different ways that we can talk. Are there certain role models, masculine role models, that you use, they're the way that they talk? In other words, one may say, are there certain archetypes that you use and you channel their power in your communication?
Yeah, somewhat. So Mark Cunningham he's an idol of mine, and Ross Jeffries as well. Both they're speaking. The way they use language is very inspiring to me. So I use a lot of their techniques when I speak. I like to speak in terms of emotions and in ways in process language, but I guess and it's pretty much just feeling emotion as I speak. So I don't know where I really get that from. So I don't really model anybody. I just try to use emotion as I speak. So I make each word have a kind of a feeling to it. I try to express a feeling along with the word, if that makes sense.
It does. I feel almost ashamed at this point mentioning Ross Jeffries like 72 times and never bringing up Arash Dibazar. Have you studied Arash Dibazar, Francis Ra?
Yeah, that's who I thought. That's who I thought Akash was. I'm sorry, it wasn't. I thought it was him. I thought that was Akash Dibazar. Yeah.
Oh, Akash Dibazar.
Yeah, it was Arash Dibazar. Him. Oh, I thought it was because that was my friend, my student I had he introduced me. He asked me what I thought of him, and he was studying his stuff.
So Chris and I, as a bit of background, Francis, for you, Chris and I are both students of AZD, or Arash, Zepar, Dibazar. Been studying under Chris has been studying under him a couple of years longer than I have, but both very studying him for quite some time now. This is where we get a lot of our perspective on game and such. And as I'm sure you're well aware, he's one of the top pickup artists in the game.
He's the top.
In the game.
He's number one. The man has 5 simultaneous girlfriends who are all 10s, who all know about each other. He broadcasts daily about them. I've watched him seduce them from 0 to hero, and I've seen many come and go. And he's maintained these relationships for different time periods, each girl, but up to 13 years, which is probably the longest standing relationship in pickup, except for maybe Hypnotica is married to his wife for the last 20 years or so.
if he's, you know what I mean? I'll tell you, that man is on the ball. Because I'll tell you, you got to be able to not only, you got 5 girlfriends, you're keeping them all happy. I'll tell you, you got to be a creative man to do that. You got to be a man who's thinking on his toes. You got to be a man who's bringing experience because, you know what I mean? To offer, I mean, you could, but you know what? It is possible. And that's, you know what I mean? He's bringing those feelings and those emotions in that case for sure. You know?
Oh yeah.
It comes with the knowledge of women. I mean, that's the thing is the knowledge of women.
Yes.
Getting to know any woman will help you so much in game, you know? But also going up and not being sold already. You cannot even, if you can, you can begin to get a hold of your own emotions, begin to direct your own emotions and how you feel. Like you can, this is something that works. You can imagine there's a woman over here and that you want to talk to her. And you can go through it in your head and practice feeling the emotions you want to feel. Practice feeling aroused and excited and all those good emotions that you want her to feel. Practice rehearsing the interaction inside your mind. And what happens, you get more and more like comfortable with it. Those emotions will become automatic and it'll free you up so much more, free your mind up for those interactions.
Man, that's really fascinating. I would love to almost like dive into that, you know, like what do you think, Fran? I mean, I don't want to get too much far. Maybe if there's a way you can intertwine this into game and NLP, which are, you know, what you'd like.
That's what I kind of do, right?
Well, here's my question. Here's my question that I wanted you to like kind of, if you could frame this as game and NLP.
Okay.
It's like you can point your attention somewhere, and that's very, point your mental attention, and it's like with symbols, with words, with gestures, with like communication. Self-talk or talking outside or something like that. But then you were just talking about pushing your emotions in different directions. And do you see these as 2 different intellects or 2 different minds? And if so, like, how do you apply this with your NLP in your game?
Okay. So, yeah. So the unconscious mind, the unconscious processes speak the language of experience and emotion. Okay, so anytime I'm talking in terms of experience and emotion, I'm talking to the unconscious processes of the mind. Now, anything I have to do in order, now, the brain, the philosophy goes like this. The brain is it's basically a biological computer sitting inside of a head. It doesn't know what's going on in the outside world whatsoever, except for the senses, okay? And the 5 senses are basically like the computer inputs for your biological computer. They send a binary electrical signal through the nervous system into the brain where one neural transmitter fires off to another, and the brain decodes that, and you experience that. So that's kind of, so as that, we're beginning to understand that, we can think that, okay, well, if I speak in process language, I can kind of trick the subconscious mind into going through an experience. All I need to do now is to craft an experience that will change the thinking, maybe unlock a belief. You see, I'm always, when I'm speaking with somebody, I'm looking for their beliefs. What are their limiting beliefs? So I'll find a limiting belief, and then I'll maybe speak to them in such a way that I'll tell them a story that will challenge that limiting belief in such a way that it has to loosen it. And then now I can demonstrate another way of thinking and change kind of one of their unconscious processes. So a lot of what I do is a lot of self-help. So when I'm talking with a woman, I can speak to her in ways that make her feel aroused. Now, just by talking about being aroused, like I can talk about how it feels when you're sitting there with somebody and you just feel that sexual tension between the 2 of you. It's like you haven't even spoken a word yet, but you can just feel that person's energy. And it's just like it continues to build. It's just stronger. It's just like, that person's feeling it too. It's like that beautiful feeling all around your area, all through your body. And it's just like you're absorbed. And it's like the whole world begins to disappear. And all you can feel is this connection between you and that person and this person. I like to use this better than that, but you see what I mean? But you can begin to talk about anything, and unconsciously, they're going to experience it to a degree.
So, Francis, one of the things that is critical in game is the art of storytelling, and this is something that you've touched upon throughout this interview itself. Can you talk a little bit about what makes an engaging story? What is it that when you're telling a story to a woman that you need to infuse?
Okay. Yeah. So you want to be speaking well, you want to be using your voice in a good manner. It's keeping her engaged. But you also want to be talking, using pictures, mental pictures, feelings, emotions, and what's happening. Paint a picture, but a moving picture. Make a movie on her mind with your words. All right. So as you're speaking with her, you can just talk about like what it feels like to just meet somebody, and it's just like instantly, I like this person, and it's like the whole world begins. You know what I mean? You can just talk about anything. You can talk about sometimes when you meet somebody, you could be walking, down the street with this person. It's like you just feel so comfortable. You know what I mean? You can almost see them, feel the birds just kind of floating by right now. Kind of weird, isn't it? As we talk, but you can just talk about anything, and it happens kind of on the mind in a way, as long as that person's engaged and listening. So
have you found any key topics or any have you decoded like any specific topics or anything that are good for
feelings and emotions themselves and experiences, really. So so if you're talking, see, you can, I like to build off the experience that I'm in, but you could talk about times when things have happened and you felt this way about them. You see what I mean? It's like, has it ever happened to you where you're just in this place and you'll paint the picture, and a person just came up to you and it felt like this, and all this stuff started to happen? See what I mean? Now I'm just leaving them kind of blank, but now you can fill in those pictures. You can be like, has it ever happened to you? You've just been like standing at a McDonald's, and all of a sudden somebody comes up to you, and it's just like boom. Instantly you just feel like you like this person. It's just something about them, and it's just like you feel like you just want to get to know them more on a more deeper level. And it's like you can even see yourself later on talking to them on the phone and just bonding and connecting with that person on a real deep level. I mean, has that ever happened with you? See what I mean? It's the same thing. I just left it, I filled in the blanks for you. That's what I'm talking about when you're talking, the language that you're going to talk, it just works so well with a woman.
Yeah. And I hear a speech pattern that you using a lot that I'm going to adopt. That it's so simple. I just don't use it, but I hear you use it. I'm like, man, I'm going to use this. And it's really simple. When I say it, you're going to be like, man, that's like 3 words. It was, has that ever happened to you?
That's a beautiful phrase.
Whoa, has that ever happened to you? Like, so cool. I'll hand it over to Akash.
Yeah, brother, I want to ask you, I guess, about where did you get the name Naturally Seductive of the company itself? Where did this evolve from? And can you speak a little bit about that?
Okay, well, yeah, actually, I was supposed to be doing, I got into a fight, I got into an argument with Ross Jeffries, but I was supposed to release a program under him, which was what we were planning on doing, was me becoming kind of like a junior speed seduction and working under him with in his business. But
Which
then
just thing, Ross Jeffries that's his pseudonym. His like method or his company is called Speed Seduction. So that's what. Right.
Yeah, that Speed Seduction. Yeah, so I was going to be releasing a product under Speed Seduction. Then I said some really horrible things to him. He was my mentor, and I said some terrible things, and then kind of crashed and burned that bridge. But then I still, and that was actually only a couple months ago, but I still knew that I had something to give, right? And because, like, I guess, Ross, my mentor, somebody I'd been watching for so long, had the kind of confidence he had in me to say, yeah, you know what, when I'm done, when I retire, you can have Speed Seduction. I'll support anything that you do. Like, to gain his confidence gave me the confidence to say, you know what, I can build a business out of this. It might take me some time, but I can build a model and I can build a business out of this, and I can be doing this for a living, you know, and that's where my wheels are kind of beginning to turn to now.
Interesting. Well, Yogi Chris, I think we start wrapping it up here.
Yeah, any questions from anybody on Facebook, Instagram, Zoom, go ahead and type them. We got, you know, a little bit of time. We could maybe answer one or two. And, yeah, what else? Sorry to cut you off, Akash. I'll mute myself.
Yeah, so I guess on my end, at least, some closing thoughts. And if we get anything that kind of comes through Instagram and Facebook, we'll add them in. I invite you all to join the Enlightened Masculinity group. We have a Facebook group that you guys are welcome to join. We post content once, twice a week, maybe more. Anytime that you are engaging with us, we're more than happy to give you guys some stuff there. Secondarily, I have the sunset yoga hike this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday in Montclair, New Jersey. If you guys are interested, super, super interesting experience, and more than happy to take you guys through this experience. And then lastly, we have Sunset Club coming up this upcoming Sunday, where we'll be watching the sunset over New York City. We got the New York City skyline, and bringing together some of the most irresistible charmers, brilliant dreamers, beautiful people, interesting ones, and characters of all kinds. So, Yogi Chris, I turn it over to you.
That's super good. Man, I would be putting promo ads around in the area, too, to kind of grab that attention. That's local to northern, I think, what is it, northeast New Jersey, around Montclair. So, yeah, and I also want to say, like, with your questions, guys, you'll see the differences, because there are definitely differences here. I focused a little bit on a couple of them, but definitely, you know, I'm interested in a more harmonious event. But the kind of questions you guys ask will really highlight where there's differences in our philosophy. We have a question from Jason. He says, from being a guy who couldn't speak to people at all to going out there and becoming who you are today, what caused you to make that decision? Was it a moment?
You know what? I'll tell you. It was, you know what it was? The pickup. It was the pickup artist on VH1. I saw that, and I said, "Oh my God!" Yeah, I said, "Oh my God! I can do something. I can change this." And I began to work, and it's been a long time since then. That's what first got my feet moving. It gave me the belief. Once you believe that you can change, you can. You can.
Yeah.
Those are powerful, powerful words right there. And Francis, actually, that's what got me interested in the pickup arts as well. I saw it in 7th grade, and I knew then. I just kept up with it ever since. So I very much am aligned with you in that regard.
I almost want to just because I'm so narcissistic, I want to tell a little bit of my story, because there was a moment for me. I was in Italy, and I was so attracted to these women, and I used to have an even better body than I do now, because I was just like fresh off of wrestling, really into yoga, just had like, I was cut and chiseled. But man, I had like a ponytail, I had like a unibrow, I had like really low self-esteem, and let alone in America talking to girls, I didn't even know the language and trying to talk to girls. And so I was confined to just like the 30% of women that could speak like fine enough English. And then that, you know, my game was just so bad. And I remember this one girl that was like, I mean, I might not have known anything that I know now, but she was like, I mean, the body language, like it was on. Like and it was just like in a casual environment. We were at like some research conference or something. Like I was in Italy studying. I was a PhD student. And man, it was just like on, like this girl is so into me. And when I went and approached her and then we talked, it was like all of that went away. And so my voice, like Francis is talking about, killed whatever my body had generated. Like my body was communicating one thing, but my voice was the deeper, like that's really who I am. And that was like, it was so turning off to her that I was just like embarrassed. My friend didn't even care. My friend didn't notice. He didn't see that it was bad, but I myself knew that this is not my potential. I am falling short. Like God would not give me the desire for that woman and then not give me the abilities to get her. That would be a big middle finger from God. And I don't think that that's what God did. I think God was like, here is the prize, not the prize like that, but here is the thing you're going for. Like you have a desire, you want this, get it. But it's not going to be handed to you. You got to earn it, because guess what? All the other guys want it too. So you got to kind of win, actually. And so there was that moment. I went right onto YouTube, started looking up things. One thing led to another, and then here I am. So that was the moment for me. I just kind of wanted to share it.
Oh shit, that's awesome. That's amazing, man. That's an amazing story too. You know what? Because it's true. You know what I mean? It's powerful.
Oh yeah.
Yogi Chris, why don't we close it up, wrap it up here? So I'll leave you with closing thoughts, and then we'll leave Francis with some
I want to
closing
get to know
thoughts.
you guys a lot better, man. I thank you so much for having me on. I just wanted to just say thank you so much for reaching out and for all of this, man. I definitely want to get to know you guys on a much. Like, I like you guys. I can
Hell yeah.
tell you're spreading a good message. Like I like you guys, man. Thank
Well,
you.
we'll have you back, Francis. Hell yeah, it's great. And when we post this, we'll tag you in it. It's going on iTunes. And so really quickly, Francis, we did it in the last episode, but in case this is the first episode people are seeing, how can people find you and get a hold of you for your information?
Okay, Francis Raw on Facebook, Great Bird Raw on Instagram, and Francis Raw on YouTube. There's great tools on YouTube, but you just want to connect. Facebook, Naturally Seductive Facebook group too. All my stuff is on there.
Very cool. Very cool.
And allow me to just interject that. One of the things that really impressed me, Francis, was that you were able to get close to 100 people in a Facebook group in a very, very short period of time. So I had to say that shows a lot of initiative and a man who's able to lead. And to me, that really means a lot. So props to you on that. And that's really what got you noticed by me in the very least. So.
Right on. Thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
I'm still working and learning. I'm learning the social media. I'm learning this whole thing, but I'm learning quick.
Hell yeah. We all are. And so we'll pick each other up because we're similar enough. I think that this is a really cool collaboration. So we'll have you back. I think you remind me a lot of Rooster. I'd love to have Rooster back. And, we'll have Shane Smith on the show next week. So that's the author of The Science of Attraction. That man knows a lot about survival. And true alpha male, like super tatted up, a bouncer, and a professional comic book artist. So, really interesting guy. And so you guys know where to train with us. You can find me on ninthlimb.com, Enlightened Masculinity Facebook group. And thanks for showing up. Leave us a review, everybody, on iTunes. This is how we get discovered. If you find us on iTunes or if you're just watching the show, you want to go and leave a review and a comment, like a testimony or something like that. Screenshot it, send it to us. We got a private video for you. It's not in any of our paid programs. It's a separate technique we've reserved for the people that leave us reviews. Because we want to encourage that participation, You can always ask questions and so on. So thank you, Francis Raw. Thank you, Akash Inti. And thank you to myself. Thanks, Jay Sussy, for thanking us. And thanks all around. So I'm just abundantly thankful. I'm filled with thanks. So we'll see you in the next one. Namaste.
Namaste.